Good afternoon, Miss Annette. You're muted.
Hi there. How are you, my dear?
How are you, my favorite lady? I'm doing well. I'm finally past all the whatever I had in March and April. Hallelujah. And
It,
I have a meeting scheduled with Mr. Finet, as he told me his name is pronounced. What a delightful gentleman. So we're meeting
okay.
tomorrow to strategize.
Oh, great. Both of you are talkers. So don't let him out talk you. Uh, but it'll be all good.
Yeah, I think that the gentleman that he's a part of, they want to do more than just their high school athletic stories. So that's going to be great. And I think he's pretty dynamic. I think we could. I'm going to see if I can convince him to join us here, but also just try to get people engaged across the city. So
Okay, I hadn't thought about him as a you mean as a committee. He would have an interesting perspective. Um, and he just might do it. He just might do it. He's old. He doesn't have time. He has time on his hands.
yeah, it sounds
Uh,
like he's very well connected and
he
just
knows a lot of, he knows a lot of people all over town. He grew up here. So, uh, yeah, that would be very interesting. Uh,
I think we spoke for about 2 hours
he's a
the other
talker.
day.
I know that. You know, both of you are talkers. So,
That's that history bug, but he can out talk me and he knows his history facts. I was impressed.
yeah, he's been around. He's an old guy. Old guys know a lot.
you. So good afternoon.
Dr. Villa-Gomez, I
Yes,
have a
ma'am.
question, and maybe
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Christian can answer it. Is a quorum a simple majority? So if we have actual 7 members, is the quorum 4? Is that makes the quorum is a simple majority?
It does.
Okay, so it's of the living members. It's not like you got 9, you got 2 vacancies, but it's really 7, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so we just need 1 more to have a quorum.
That's correct.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our May 2024 African American Heritage Initiative Committee meeting. Thank you so much for joining. Ms. Carlin, could you please call roll?
Sure. Chairperson Villa-Gomez,
Present.
Mr. Duror, Mr. Fulton, Mr. Scales, Ms. Beverly Williams has requested an excused absence. Ms. Williams, Sheila Williams, and Ms. Annette Wilson.
Present.
Thank you, Ms. Carlin. We'll postpone approving the April minutes until possibly, hopefully, Mr. Dura will join us. So I'll proceed with the chair's updates. So first of all, I wanted to remind everyone about Juneteenth, and I did note the date a few days ago, and now that date has escaped me. Ms. Carlin, do you know the official date for our city's Juneteenth celebration?
No, I do not.
Okay, I'll try to look that up and give everybody that date a little later. But I know that we have had some really productive engagement with community members in past years, and so I know that we haven't been so successful with the recordings because we've had to compete with the choir and all the different events going on in the main part of the Bailey Center. But I am still hoping that as many of us as possible will be there and sit with city staff. I always have a great time hanging out with Carlin and everyone else. And last year we spent a good amount of time with the Historic Resources Commission folks. So I'm not sure if we'll have time to develop any marketing materials. I know that at one point we had posters, but my first year at Juneteenth, we had posters for AAHI, but somehow they've been lost. And so whatever we can do to at least be there and really just mingle and tell everyone what AAHI is all about, that will be great. I know I'm preaching to the choir. Oh, thank you, Dr. Christian. So Juneteenth celebration for the city this year is Saturday, June 15th. Thank you so much for that. So I know I am preaching to the choir because Miss Sheila Williams has been there with me, and Miss Annette Wilson has been there and actually did some great work a few years ago in having people sign our release forms and helping us to actually do the recordings right on spot when the music wasn't so loud. So we had a couple great histories. I think Miss Terry gave us her history and a few other people. So like I said, I expect that we won't be able to do the recordings on site, but whatever we can do to meet people and let them know what our mission is, what our goals are, encourage them to consider giving their histories and whatever documents they would like to share. That would be great because we really need to remember, our real mission is to build our archive, right? And so now that COVID is behind us for the most part, I think our momentum is increasing to really get out in the community and create our archive. So that's exciting. That leads me to my next point, and Councilperson Scipio was so gracious to connect me with a wonderful gentleman, one of our elders, Mr. Kwamen. He says his last name is Finney. It looks like Finney, but he asked me to pronounce it as Finney. And so he helps to lead a group of gentlemen that all graduated from Anderson High School and were football stars way back in the day. And they meet the third Thursday of every month, really just to fellowship and support one another. And so they're eager to share their stories. Originally, it was going to be that they were going to share their stories about being high school football players. But now I think they're going to want to talk about everything from their churches to their neighborhoods, etc. So I am meeting with Mr. Finney tomorrow, and we're going to start strategizing about how to connect with the gentlemen, maybe go to them to do the recordings, or maybe invite them to Winston-Salem State so Mr. Flynn can help us do the recordings right there in the archive. So the summer is going to be a great time for me. I won't be teaching except for an online summer school class. So I'm going to try to use the time to really get out there and meet folks and really support our elders so they can get excited about our project. And then the last item is, as I've said, the oral history collections. I do want to note that Mr. Flynn hopefully will be recording the last of the student presentations for We Built This. So he recorded the ones that were done back in March in our library, and those should go up to the AAHI website along with the interview we did with Mr. Jimmy Norwood and Mr. Ronald Johnson. So those will be on that joint sort of AAHI WSSU site that takes everyone to Digital North Carolina. So the rest of the student presentations hopefully will be recorded, and we'll get those uploaded as well. Last item is that some of you might be aware of this wonderful collection of interviews of our elders that were done, I guess, in the 90s by a lady named Anne. I don't remember her last name, but this was done through the Central Library, and they've sort of been floating all over the place. So I was looking for them and hoping we could use them and transcribe them and get them into our archive. And finally, I happened to meet one of the librarians who's in the North Carolina room at the Central Library, Miss Karen Feeney, who told me that they were being transcribed by Dr. Michael Hughes, who retired recently from Wake Forest History Department. So he's been listening to the recordings and transcribing them. And just last night, she sent me the whole list. So I am going to really push to see if we can get those recordings. I know the Central Library will post them, but if we can also get those into our archive, that would be wonderful. I believe there are at least 17 recordings. And she also, Miss Karen is really eager to support us, and she would be happy to make some of the rooms in the library, like their recording studio, also open for us so we could have sort of a community sharing day. So I'm supposed to meet with her soon so we can start strategizing. And that would be a wonderful location. It's central. There's great parking. And from what she told me, the recording studio is quite nice. And so it would be a great place to gather our elders. So those are my updates. Are there any questions or any comments about these 3 items?
Dr. Villa-Gomez,
Yes, ma'am.
I was thinking, does Winston-Salem State have a mobile recording booth? I don't know if I heard that somewhere in my background, that a mobile booth that they can take off-site and set it up and it's soundproof and you can record in it.
That's a very good question, Councilperson Scipio. I'm thinking that maybe our radio station, along with the mass comm folks, might have something like that.
I thought Tom had that, Tom Flynn.
So for Tom, I know it's more that we have sort of the same kind of equipment in our library's archive that we have from what the Winston-Salem Foundation allowed us to purchase.
Okay.
So I think it's more of a sort of smaller, the very, very high tech, high quality, but smaller recording for both audio and visual. And that's basically what I've seen Tom and his library staff bring whenever we do any kind of recording of an event or any kind of interviews, which are, that portability is great because it doesn't take a whole lot to transport something like that. So, but I do know that when some of the mass comm faculty and students will go out, for games and different events across the city, and I know they sort of take a separate whatever they have. But it would be nice to maybe connect with them as well. And I did initiate some conversations with a gentleman who was hired about a year ago. So that I think that could also help. So that remind me of that, Councilperson Scipio, to keep that as a priority for the next academic year, and I'll work on that.
Yeah, I was just thinking if they had a portable booth of some kind, it could be something you could take to Juneteenth and do recordings on site.
Right.
That's what I was thinking about.
And I know Mr. Flynn has some sort of technology that, just as I know the city has, where some of that extra noise can be filtered out. But I know, for instance, when we did the opening ceremony at Winston Lake and we had several people give us interviews, they weren't actually able to filter out all the noise from the community. So the interviews were pretty inaudible that day.
Okay.
So that was kind of our experiment. We got some great interviews that day too, but they just weren't usable because you couldn't hear them. So I know Mr. Flynn has some good technology to kind of help with that kind of thing, but I'll reach out to him and see what he might be able to do. Or maybe somebody he knows from Winston-Salem State could come and help us, because that would be great if we could set up a mobile unit in one of those parking lots.
Yeah,
that would be great.
Okay, Dr. Christian, could we request that you purchase us RV, please, for recordings? I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Purchase an We will definitely check our budget to see if we can accommodate.
I love it.
You know what? We have surplus equipment. We might have some surplus equipment we might be able to get and reuse. Anyway, I thought I'd throw that out there. I got it down to find that. I'm going to find, we might just be able to get one donated.
That would be wonderful. That would really simplify things. We just go out with our mobile unit.
It's Justin. Okay, I'll tell him right now. Excuse me, that was Sabrina. Mr. Justin, Sabrina says she's been trying to get into the meeting and no one would let her in. Can you let her in, please? Justin may not be there. I'm going to step away a minute. Y'all go ahead with your meeting.
Thank you. Dr. Christian,
Yeah.
I think I can turn the meeting over to you.
Well, at this point, we do not have any current updates for you guys today.
Oh, hi, Justin. Councilperson Scipio said that, is it Miss Stowe? Sabrina was trying to get in and couldn't get in to our meeting. Thank you. Well, it doesn't seem that we will have a quorum, but I did want to definitely make sure that Miss Annette Wilson and Miss Sheila Williams could add any updates. I know that Miss Annette Wilson helped to organize a wonderful Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Celebration a few weeks ago. I got really sick and I regret I wasn't there, but I read in the news that it was an incredible event. Miss Annette, do you want to share with us about what happened? And I also know you used the event to really promote AAHI because that was in the news release that I read.
Okay, thank you. I want to thank Councilman Scipio, who was there, as well as there were the mayor and a few other local officials. But we did have a wonderful celebration honoring or commemorating the 60th anniversary of Dr. King speaking at Golden Metropolitan. So we did record that. So I will check with the person that recorded it to see if it can be submitted to our for our site. So I don't think that'll be a problem, but I will have to check with them. And I do appreciate you all spreading the word and the support we got from the Historic Resource Committee as well. So I can send everyone the link if they would like to see it. I can send that to you, Dr. Gomez, and you can send it to the other members of the committee.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah, that was just such a special event. I was so sad that I couldn't make it. But the pictures look great and the news write-up was wonderful. So I'm eager to see the recording. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
Miss Sheila, do you have any comments, suggestions, questions? You know, you and I were able to go to the Fair Housing Summit, which was great. So I was able to see you there. And of course, Dr. Russ Smith was the keynote speaker, and he spoke about the Mapping Prejudice Project, which of course we voted to support last month when we did have a quorum. And so I'll definitely be keeping everyone up to date on the progress over the summer with Mapping Prejudice. I would expect that we probably will meet in June, and then AHI usually takes July and sometimes August off, but we hope to be getting a lot done over the summer. And if anybody from AAHI wants to be involved in what we'll be doing over the summer, looking at the deeds and just meeting more with other community groups, let me know, because I would love to have you join us over the summer for that.
Dr. Villa Gomez, I do have one or two updates that I failed to mention. But first and foremost, please allow me to say thank you all for attending the summit that we had, our 18th annual Fair Housing Summit. It was very successful. And again, thank you guys who did attend. We're also going to work towards filling the vacancies that you guys have on your on your committee. So we will be working with Mrs. Linda Barnes out of the mayor's office to ensure that we can fill those vacancies there. And as you mentioned earlier, Juneteenth is scheduled for June 15th. So we definitely want to encourage you guys to come out and be a part of that as well. And that is pretty much all that I have at the moment.
Thank you, Dr. Christian.
You're welcome.
Well, this was a short but very sweet meeting. I forgot to check my calendar for June. Does anyone know what the first Wednesday of June is?
June the 5th?
The 5th. Thank you. So we will meet on June 5th at 2 p.m. Ms. Wilson asked what time the Juneteenth celebration will take place. I know doesn't it usually start about noon? I can look that up if
That is correct. It normally starts around noon, but we can double check that and make sure that you guys have it.
Perfect. Thank you. And I know that in the past, we've sort of signed up for some people would go for a few hours before lunch and then others would step in. I plan to be there the whole day because I always have fun hanging out with all the city people. And it's just always such a great celebration. But I believe we can send updates as we learn more about what AAHI will do in relation to the rest of the city groups. But even if there's nothing real structured, again, I think it's just really great to be out there and show our presence in the community. So oh, go ahead, Dr. Christian, I'm sorry. Excuse me.
My apologies. I do have a note here that I wanted to resurface with the group, with the committee. I know at one point in time, there was conversations about going back to face-to-face meetings and also perhaps changing the time so that you can ensure that you have more of the committee members there. Is that something that you all want to have a conversation about for the upcoming meeting?
Thanks, Dr. Christian. I do recall that basically most of the people who are here now preferred Zoom just because of work schedules and sort of, the difficulty of getting downtown and then maybe from other obligations before and after. And we explored other times. I think that several of us were really open to, say, Monday nights, 5, 6, 7 p.m. But the consensus the last time that Ms. Carlin sent out the sort of just trying to get the updates is most people still preferred Wednesday at 2 p.m. and preferred Zoom. So I'm open, and maybe it's time to have another survey. What do you think, Ms. Sheila and Ms. Annette? What are your thoughts?
I think we should consider Mr. Scales in that he was originally a member who seemed to be very interested in what we were doing, and so even if we don't go back in person, is a Zoom meeting later in the day an option? Either one will work for me. I will make the adjustment, but I think that we should possibly even, I guess, find out if he's still interested and at least find out what times would be available for him, because when he accepted the appointment, we were doing like a 6 o'clock meeting on a Monday. So that would just be, I think it would be fair to at least reach out to him and see as we pursue this again.
Monday evening would work for me. I don't know about Zoom because I have issues with trying to get on at home. But I could try.
So maybe we should go ahead, Ms. Carlin, if you could send a new survey out, unless you would prefer for me to do that, I don't mind. So we can maybe think about making the change when we come back from the summer break for either our August or our September meeting.
Yeah, I do know Mr. Scales said today he was still very interested. It's just that he could not make these 2:00 meetings. And I know with Ms. Williams having to care for her mom, I don't know if the daytime is no longer convenient for her, and it may be more of, she might be more available in the evening. I don't know what kinds of commitments she's made with caring for her mom. I just know caregiving is 24/7. So I think I'll try to call her, and I'll try to contact Mr. Fulton, because I think we need to find out what's happening with people, and if there's something that, if they need to just remove themselves from the committee for the sake of the committee function for a period of time to come back on later. It might be something that needs to be discussed, because we just need to have everybody on board.
Yes.
So, but I will go ahead and chat with Miss. I'll make it my business to get with Miss Beverly and Mr. Fulton, see what's going on with both of them. And Mr. Scales has already said he wanted to participate. He just couldn't do it while he's driving the school bus.
Thank you, Councilperson Scipio, and thank you, Ms. Annette, for bringing that up. I mean, actually, I like the idea of possibly having us return to the original meeting time. I know you met face to face, but 6 p.m. on Monday probably would be the most convenient time, more convenient than this 2 p.m. meeting on Wednesday. And Ms. Sheila, I'll try to help you. Maybe we can see if we can load Zoom onto your phone. I know that when my
It didn't work.
so you and I will go have lunch, and I'll help you with that. We'll figure it out.
Okay, that'll work.
So let me just say that 6 p.m. on Monday, the only time we could do that would be the 4th Monday of the month at 6, because the city council meets or is ending a either starting a meeting at 6 or ending a meeting that might go over 6 on the 2nd Monday.
Okay, so it would be the 4th Monday each month.
If you want to do Mondays, okay. That's always a conflict. It's just city council meetings.
Okay.
On Mondays.
And I guess if we do evenings, it might be good to get back together in person if we kept it in the evening. So.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing is Dr. Christian would have to look, the city maintains a calendar of all of its commissions and committees and councils meetings. So you don't want to necessarily have your meeting when it's conflicting with another scheduled meeting, because they also are recorded or broadcast. So trying to find the right time and day, right? Well, I would have to also look within the city to make sure that it's a good time.
Councilperson Scipio, what about Wednesdays at 6 p.m.? Are there any standing meetings?
We'll look into that and find out. We can check on it. What was that?
I said on Wednesdays in the evening, I wouldn't be able to make Wednesdays.
Okay.
I won't either.
Just to let you
Is that church time?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So we would need to probably stick with Mondays if we're going to do an evening meeting.
Well, Dr. Villagomez, we can check with marketing and ask them to give us an evening time that's available or dates that might be available and present that back to your committee for them to determine which might be best.
Perfect. Yes. Thank you so much. Any last suggestions or questions?
Well, happy May, everybody. May flowers. I think this is, can you believe it's already May?
I don't believe it.
It's just crazy. So,
And
yeah, but happy May. And summer's upon us.
Yes.
it is, yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone. If you need anything, call me or text me or email me. Otherwise, I'll be back in touch with any updates that I have within the next few weeks. So take good care and enjoy this gorgeous day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Same to
Bye.
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye.
Bye.